Hey everybody, this is Cameron from Obnoxious Anonymous, and welcome to the first watch-along for this new season of Twin Peaks. Now, for those of you who may not know, a watch-along is where I watch the same TV show or movie as you are at the same time, and we have a dialogue. I'm going to say comments, and you're going to write comments in the chat. I'm going to be saying a lot of the comments that you guys write in there, and we're going to have a discussion. We're going to act like we're in the same room, even though we are separated by thousands of miles. But through electricity, or as the little man says, intercourse between two worlds, we are going to be connected while we watch these new episodes. Now, I'm going to be doing one of these every day this week. So tonight, I'm going to be doing episode 1. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing episode 2. Thursday, I'll be doing episode 3. And Friday, I'll be doing episode 4. Now, for those of you who have not seen episodes 3 and 4, I would advise you not to watch those episodes or watch, these watch-alongs before you see those episodes. That would be very, very bad and very, very confusing. But I am very excited about doing these. Over the last couple of days, I've gotten just so many wonderful comments and messages from all of you. And I'm just so happy that we are all experiencing this amazing bit of TV history together. Tonight's episode is called My Log Has a Message for You. Now, when this premiered, it was 2 episodes together. I actually think that it probably worked better as a 2-hour movie, but now after the event, they've now separated them, so we're only going to be doing the first hour. I'm just waiting for a lot of you guys to come online, get on the chat. I'm all set up on the Showtime streaming. So when I hit play, just so you know, it's going to play that Showtime commercial beforehand. So we'll have a good minute before it starts, but I just want to make sure we're more or less synced up. And so, like I said, during the episode, we're going to be just talking through it and enjoying it and calling out things and coming up with theories and just kind of analyzing it as best we can. I know many of you have already seen these episodes numerous times. This is actually only going to be my second time seeing these episodes, so this will be a blast for me as well. And then after the episode, we'll have a short kind of discussion about it. Not too long because I have to go to bed. It's pretty late here, actually. But tomorrow's episode will probably be much earlier, maybe around 6:30 or 7 o'clock at night. So they're going to be at different times this week, depending on my schedule, but I will put it in the timeline for each day, so you'll be able to plan when I'm going to be doing these. And then if you're not able to be here, obviously we'll completely miss you, but you'll be able to put your comments in the video after the fact, and we can carry the discussion on there. But the videos will be on this channel permanently, so you can always come back to them. So I really appreciate you guys all being here. We got a number of you watching live. This is really incredible. Let's see here. Okay, this is gonna be pretty unorthodox here, but actually, yeah, my wife left the heater on in the next room, and I know she's asleep, so she may wake up and go like, "Why is the heater on? Turn it off." But I guess it's better than turning on the fan and like Laura, just the whoosh 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 whoosh. So I'm hearing the heater in the other room. Hopefully, it doesn't wake her up. I'm always worried that my voice speaking on these videos will wake her up. But anyway, all right, I'm going to open up the chat here, and then we'll get going pretty soon. So I'm just letting you guys get all synced up with me. Really appreciate you guys being here. We got a number of great points and that have already been submitted. And obviously, if I read your comment aloud, I will give you credit. Just so many wonderful thoughts about these new episodes already. And that's why it's great to do these episode by episode. And that's not where the analyzation of these will end. So later in the week, maybe the weekend, I'll be doing a roundtable discussion about these episodes. And then after each new episode airs, I'll probably be doing another watch along like these, and then have more discussion. So every new episode of Twin Peaks is going to create uh, several other episodes on this channel. So yeah, so please stay tuned and subscribe and all that good stuff. So I mean, there's plenty to talk about. I can't guarantee that everything means something. I mean, it is David Lynch after all, but there is a lot to digest and a lot to discuss. And that, do we want it any other way? Probably not. So, all right, guys, I'm about ready to get started. Let's do this thing, or as they say, let's rock. All right, guys, here we go. So I'm gonna hit play, and I'll let you know when, and we'll be all synced up. So remember, I have that 1 minute Showtime commercial beforehand, so just be patient. So here we go, and in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, hit play. And you got the little Showtime logo showing up now. When they first play these like commercials before the episodes, I remember just getting so intense, like, oh my god, it's actually about to start. We're getting closer, and they were showing all these pictures of Cooper and the stairs and the roadhouse, and of course Homeland and Billions and stuff like that. I'm just like, oh my god, it's really happening. But we're gonna have to get used to these Showtime commercials, because we're gonna be seeing a lot of them before a new episode begins. And just so you guys know, I noticed tonight on the Showtime app, it says that the Twin Peaks, The Return, will be taken off Showtime on September 26th of this year. So make sure to download these episodes or buy them on a streamable, platform, because it looks like this is a limited series, which means they're going to pull it off. It already has an expiration date. So, and there has been no DVD or Blu-ray announced. So if I was you, I would download these as soon as possible. Okay, and now we have the other Showtime logo. And here we go, Showtime presents. And then I love this electricity crackling for this Rancho Rosa partnership production. Now, right from the beginning, I remember just going, oh my God, we're actually going to begin in the Black Lodge. I mean, that's where Fire Walk With Me ended, and here we are. It was just zigzagging all through the Black Lodge and the red curtains. And then it cuts back to Agent Cooper from the final episode. And there's Laura, and she says, hello, Agent Cooper. Now, what's weird is that in the series, when she does this finger thing, she does the finger thing, then it cuts to Agent Cooper. But in this version, it cuts on the sound effect rather than after the sound effect. And I thought that's a really weird choice that Dwayne Dunham made, especially since it's only like, a half a second difference. So I don't even know what that's about, but it is intriguing that they would make that kind of a change. She does the meanwhile thing, and then instead of disappearing, we just fade out. And then the next shot is the first of the drone images, which I think are absolutely beautiful in this new show. But what's really weird too is they go from these drone high def shots back to the film stock that they shot the original pilot on, and you can definitely tell the difference to go from, obviously this is the sawmill today, or what's left of it. And then when it cuts here is to the pilot episode with the, you can see the film grain. But I do love this shot of the girl running away from the pilot. I always love that shot, and it's just wonderful, all slowed down. And then we do the zoom in onto Laura's homecoming picture. This is the same shot from the pilot. And I love the fact that the moment the camera zooms in or focuses in and then rests instead of going to commercial, that's when Julie Cruz's Falling starts. Actually, it's not her vocals, but it's just the instrumental. And then we get these more drone shots. But I was surprised that, the credits are different, right? And we're going over the falls now. There's no cast. That's all saved to the end. But it is it's a beautiful image, and they did a really nice job, and I love how the credits still are the same. If there's one disappointment I have with the credits is that none of the episodes end with the executive producer Mark Frost, David Lynch. I always loved that at the end of the original episodes. Peter Deming's done a really great job with this too. And if you notice, when the curtains are flowing, like this looks like the dress in Blue Velvet, and then we get the ocean. If you see a little bit of ocean in there, and that's a recalling of something that happens in another episode, and reminds me of Dune as well. Executive producer Sabrina Sutherland, wonderful lady. And I like how we're just panning over the zigzags, and it becomes like disoriented, which is what the next 4 hours is going to be, at least of these initial 4 episodes. It's so overwhelming. Now, the first scene is with the giant, and he's talking to Agent Cooper, presumably in the Black Lodge. What's really interesting is that Carol Strucken, I think that's how you say his name, or Stryken, he was always listed as the giant in the series, but in this series, he's listed as, I believe, it says Carol Strucken, and then it says 5 question marks. And I thought, that's really weird. Why the heck are they calling them 5 question marks? Well, there was a person on the internet named Bram who contacted me and said that he thinks it's a reference to 1931's Frankenstein, because this is all black and white. And in the 1931 Frankenstein, Boris Karloff was credited as just not even Boris Karloff, just question marks. So I thought that was a really interesting bit of information here. Now, obviously, the phonograph, that's something that David Lynch has always kind of come back to, an image. And the first thing I realized when I was watching this is that, okay, we're moving at deliberate David Lynch pace here. Casual viewers, I could tell they were already getting antsy. And apparently many of them jumped during the first 15 minutes of the show, which is sad for them, but great for us, I guess. Now the giant says, remember 430. This is the first of many, many numbers that are going to be coming our way. And then he brings up Richard and Linda. Now, obviously, they're going to come back up in some way in this series, but I hope they come back in a really interesting way, and not like when the giant says something like, without chemicals, he points, or the man in a smiling bag. You want this to really not just be some incidental thing. You want it to be something major. So hopefully it plays into something major. But when he says, you are far away, and then Agent Cooper just kind of flickers away like an old television channel. it's static. It's like, oh boy, we are in for something now. So it fades out. And we're presumably in the town of Twin Peaks on the outskirts. And here is the trailer that we saw in the teaser. And car pulls up, and we realize this is the new home of Dr. Lawrence Jacoby, which is very peculiar because, a lot of you thought that he would be in Hawaii by now. So. Yeah, a lot of you guys are commenting on the opening credits, how much you like the waves and the waterfall. Thanks, Chuck. Jamie says, I feel like the giant is against the other lodge spirits. Now, what's weird is I'm going to be saying that a lot just because the show is so peculiar, and this is the second time I've seen it, so that's why. But Jacoby comes down, and with the exception of this shot introducing him as he walks down the stairs, the rest of these shots are played very pulled back. We get this shot, and then we get a further shot. So while us, the hardcore David Lynch fans are like, oh, Dr. Jacoby, what's he got? What's the package? Most new people watching this are like, what? what is going on? Who is that? We don't know. Do we care? It's just interesting to compare and contrast the viewer's experiences as well. But he is getting presumably 5 shovels, which he will later paint gold in a future episode. And there was, a viewer named Lars that wrote in and said that he feels each one of these shovels is for a separate tree in Glastonbury Grove. That's a very interesting theory. You may be right. Let's see. People are saying, what did Coop do for 25 years in the Black Lodge? And get his mind scrambled. These shots, okay, this opening of New York City with these city skyscrapers, I've never seen New York look this colorful and beautiful in my life. The HD photography, the lighting is just amazing. My breath was taken away. And now we're we're moving up towards a loft area, and there is a glass box. Now, I gotta tell you, even on the first viewing, and this is only my second, but on my first viewing, I looked at this box and I said, oh, we got a teleportation device here. I mean, if you see enough movies, you know what these kind of things look like in movies. And then we are introduced to a character, I believe his name is Sam Colby. But he's looking at this box, and we remember seeing this image in the teaser, but we quickly learn, of course, he will tell another character pretty soon what his job is here. While he's staring at the box, and the cameras linger on it as well, taking pictures. And this, only David Lynch can make hums sound so intense. But if you notice, right to the right of him on this little table there's a bonsai tree. Now, there's a reference pretty soon about a millionaire or billionaire, I should say, has hired this guy to sit and watch this box and look and see if there's any movement of something in the box, and that's why all the cameras are set up. Now, speculation is out there that the billionaire is Audrey Horne. But Audrey Horne was not aware of the Black Lodge in the series, but even after the fact, Cooper got out of the Black Lodge before she got out of the hospital, probably from the bank explosion. So how would she even know that Cooper, that happened, and she's trying to get Cooper back? It may be what happens. I don't know. I just don't see it right now. Another theory, a theory I could get really behind, because I love the character so much, is the billionaire could be Wyndham Earl. And if the billionaire is Wyndham Earl, I will go running through the house screaming like a 5-year-old. So joyful. Obviously, every time the camera, I guess, takes a picture, he has to file away in a chip. And somebody made a comment about how the computer chip might be a stand-in for something else that happens later in a future episode. But we will discuss that when it happens. So I'm going to check the chat to see if anyone else... everyone's still talking about the shot of New York. Yeah, Indie Phantom says the box is a Lynchian joke. We are watching our own little boxes waiting for things to happen. Yeah, that would be great. It's kind of a commentary on itself, sort of like the Smash TV at the beginning of Fire Walk with Me. So Sam gets a message that there's somebody out there. There's a delivery for him. And I keep checking the security officer, but I can't like read his name tag to get a read. And we are introduced to a girl named Tracy, and she's carrying these coffee cups does it say, is that a Z or is that a 7? Looks like a Z on the cups. But she's obviously trying to hang out with this guy she likes. Now, when I first saw this, I gotta tell you, I saw a boy or a guy and a girl or a woman, and I saw an empty loft and I saw a teleportation device, and I thought, hey, it's The Fly, David Cronenberg's film. This whole section here reminds me of The Fly. And some people have commented the dialogue seems just very dragged out or stilted. And I understand maybe where someone could come from when they're saying that, although it didn't bother me very much. I knew it was intentional. It always is with David Lynch. And she wants to be a part of his experiment, and but she will come back in a scene soon enough. A very memorable scene that many of us will remember for quite a long time. She's trying to peep over his shoulder, see the numbers, and he's like, "You're a bad girl, Tracy." And that's why she says, "Try me." And right then you go, "Ooh, something's sinister and something sexy is about to happen." So much so that they used that phrase that she said in the teaser. A lot of you want to see Robert Blake from Lost Highway show up. That would be something. I don't think that he would be brought in, though, just because of the whole murder trial, though, but one can still wish, maybe. So Sam comes in with his 2 cups of coffee. Guess he's going to be up late, sitting back down on his couch in his bonsai tree. Bonsai, as Gordon Cole would say. Back to the empty box. I like how the coffee and donut jokes in this series so far have been very, very subtle. That's a good thing. Oh, we have a new shot of the Great Northern. This is not your typical shot. Now, this is interesting to me because we have Ashley Judd coming in, obviously dealing with Ben Horn. Now, Ben Horn's office is arranged identically to the way it was in the series. However, this office is so much smaller than the office that they had in the series. And that's because in the series it was a set and this is a real location. But I mean, there's the back doors he tried to escape from Sheriff Truman and Agent Cooper. So it's just it's very interesting that this being a real location changes the the dynamics of the set. Now you have Jerry Horn coming in here, and it's like, oh my goodness, it's Father Christmas. I was not expecting Jerry Horn to come in like as a homeless man, basically. And Ashley Judd, I don't know if she's coming back in the series or not. There's a lot of actors and actresses that show up, and then there's only supposedly in one episode, and they show up for like a scene and they're out. Like Jennifer Jason Leigh later in this episode, or maybe it's the next episode, but she's only credited for one episode. So if is that it? Is that the only scene she's in? Okay, it's a good scene, but all right. Now, what's really strange is that I've only seen the first 4 episodes, so I can only comment on this. But Richard Beamer is only credited as being in 1 episode. So, but this is the only scene the Horn brothers are in. They don't come back in any of the next 3 episodes. So that may be correct. Maybe Richard Beamer is only in this 1 episode. But then why does this scene show up now? I'm trying to figure out, like, it's a good scene. I like the actors. I like the dialogue. I like the scene itself. But why is this scene positioned here in the narrative? Especially since it doesn't seem like there's any real callbacks to it later. If any of you in the chat know, I would love to hear it. You guys are talking about the missing pieces. Pothead Jerry. Ben and Jerry scene is awesome. Cameron, are there not sets in this new series? I wasn't aware of that. No, there's sets. It's just some of them are not. Okay, then we go to the sheriff station. That sunlight above. It's a nice shot, but I was kind of taken aback at first because I was like, "Wow, I've never seen the sheriff station cut off like that." So where it was only the sign, but it's a nice shot. Now, if you notice, Lucy is playing with cards. And if you look at the table, you'll see the jack, and you'll see. I'm trying to see if there's any connection to the Miss Twin Peaks cards that Win and Merle was using in the last part of the second season. But it is kind of, it's not a coincidence that there's just a deck of cards just face up right on her desk. And then the last time we were in Twin Peaks, there were deck of cards spelling out which girl might die. Now this guy takes off, and this is where we find out there are two Sheriff Trumans. And the next scene is when I really just started going nuts watching this. We are Muddy Magnolias. This is American Woman, their remix. We get this typical David Lynch shot of the car at night with the lights. We see it in Blue Velvet, Lost Highway, all of his films basically from Blue Velvet on. And this music is just so like slow and like hardcore and brutal, and the words say things like, I know my worth and who I am. Mister, if you're hard up, I could spare a few grand. Now it's slowed down, just like Bob is when he's killing Madeline. And when you see this shot, I don't know about you, but I was like, it's Bob. I just knew it was Bob. Before even the car pulled up, I just knew that this was the introduction to Bob. And, I've seen some reviewers say, oh, Frank Silva's no longer with us, so that's why they gave Kyle this long hair. Frank Silva as Bob was an inhabiting spirit. He was not just walking around the town. So of course he's going to be inside the person. He's not going to just be walking around outside of a car. So yes, this is the doppelganger with Bob inside of him. And when he takes this guy out on the stairs, just grabs the gun and boom, I was like, that's it, man. Bob is such a badass. Look at him walking into this little shack. Reminds me again of Lost Highway with the mystery man. And we got this guy. I don't know if he's drinking moonshine or what, but when Bob sits down, or doppelganger Cooper sits down, and we cut to this shot of him just sitting there. This reminds me of Bob just sitting in the above the convenience store, just kind of just sitting there. And he looks over, and there's like a midget and a giant sitting down. It's very peculiar. And again, Bob just loves to just sit in a chair and chill out and just stare until somebody kind of sneaks up on him and tries to take him out again. But look at the reflexes on Bob. This is a guy who's been out in the world for 25 plus years. He knows the score. He's not going to let anyone get his number. Boom, takes him out. Brilliant. Doesn't even flinch about it. Kyle MacLachlan is such a badass in this show, and I'm so happy to see him. I jokingly say this, but I'm so happy to see him be a man again because, I loved him on Sex and the City and all these other shows, but, he was always just put down by all these women and all these TV shows. And now he's able to show his strength as an actor. even though the ratings for this thing are pretty low, I do think that Kyle MacLachlan will end up with an Emmy nomination for this show. It's a wonderful performance so far, and we're only 4 episodes in. Okay, so I don't know who this Beulah is. She's almost like a madam or something. Like, this is Blackie gone nuts. And you guys are just talking up a storm. And you guys are, I think, maybe a little bit behind. So, okay, so we have this Daria. And obviously, this is the girl we see from the trailer. Look at the way Bob just doesn't even give a crap. He's just like staring. And I think that's another reason why we got that above the convenience store scene and the missing pieces, because I think Lynch wanted to show you just Bob's, the way he just doesn't even have to make his presence known. He is just sitting there, and he's guided by the fury of his own momentum. Yeah, I mean, you just look at this framing, you look at the lighting, you just know David Lynch directed this. There's nobody else that could have directed it to look like this. Look at the way Bob just like, see it, Otis. Like, and he's got his little, team with him. Oh my God, it's so great. I love their conception of who Bob is now. He is the man. I say that, in a strictly TV movie sense. I would never want to meet this guy in real life, but just saying. Back to this beautiful shot of New York City. Oh my God, this exterior is gorgeous. Lynch, you spoil us with some of these shots. And Sam's changing the chips again. I know there must have been a lot of you sitting and watching this for the first time going, what in the hell? What are we doing? But remember, guys, this is not, even though these are broken up into episodes, this is really an 18-hour movie that they've just chopped up. David says he's watched the night driving scene with Bob so many times that music is great. Oh, I so hope they release a soundtrack for this show. Yeah, I think you guys are a few minutes behind, so. Sam seems to have a feeling about something. Oh, yeah, Tracy's back. Is she wearing the same clothes from yesterday? I can't remember. But she is something else, let me tell you. Yeah, the security guard is not here, so can I come in? Sam's like, coffee? Female? No guard? Let me think. I remember thinking, yeah, like Tracy says, I think she says, don't overthink this. Yeah, don't overthink it. Of course, it becomes his undoing as well, but that's another story. I'm going ahead. Yeah, I see a lot of you guys praising Kyle MacLachlan. That's great. Yeah, he's just wonderful. I saw some people like just talking about how cheesy he was acting. I'm like, cheesy? You guys have no idea what you're talking about. Since there's no one here to stop you, I guess you could come in for a little while. But I don't know how you're going to get out if the guard comes back. And she goes, let's not overthink this opportunity. Yep. Oh, look how fast he just books in there. He's like, yep, let's do this. The box over here says, "Do not drop up." Very, very important. Yeah, this again reminds me of The Fly. I honestly, the first time I saw this, I thought he was gonna push her into the box and like send her into the lodge or something, sort of like Poltergeist or something, where tennis ball comes out of the portal, and this is where we find out like what he's doing. He says it's just a job, you know. I sit here on this couch and I stare at this box, and he reveals that a billionaire owns this place. Some anonymous billionaire. Could be anybody. It could be a relative of Thomas Eckhart for all we know. Although I doubt they'll bring that up. But yeah, one of the theories by a guy named Jamie said that he feels that it could be Wyndham Earl trying to trap spirits in the electric form, since electricity is the quote unquote intercourse between the two worlds, as the little man says in the missing pieces. It's a very interesting theory. Although, again, some people think it may be Audrey, but I don't know how Audrey would connect to the Black Lodge, but anything's possible. I wouldn't be disappointed either way, but if it was Wyndham Earl, I would be incredibly ecstatic. Look at all those wires. Hmm. David Lynch definitely likes his technology and his lamps. I had a comment today from someone going, "Has anyone done a proper lamp count in one of his movies or all of his movies?" And I was like, I haven't, but go right ahead." Or maybe someone already has. I don't know. I'm sure that's out there somewhere on the internet. www.lynchlamps.com. Yeah. Oh, here we go. I love this shot, like, because I remember thinking, oh, it's just like typical man, typical woman. He's just sitting there, his legs all spread out, and she's like all closed up and proper. And but things are about to get heated between these two. That's faux show. You guys are all talking about. Do you think the guard knows anything? Yeah, well, the guard was hired to protect the room. That's all he knows. At least that's what we can hypothesize. Yeah, when these two start kissing, this is like a slasher scene done by David Lynch here. I always joke that Fire Walk with Me was talked about in newspaper ads as being if David Lynch had made a Friday the 13th or Prom Night movie, and that would always get me really excited. But Fire Walk with Me definitely was not that. But this is definitely David Lynch's slasher moment here. You have the couple kissing and making out, and then of course they're going to get killed soon enough in a very brutal way, which was surprising. I know some people were rather shocked by the level of violence here. Now, how do you visually display that it's been 25 years since the original series? Well, one of the differences is that women now wear thongs. That wasn't a garment that most everyday women wore in 1990, 1991, or 1989 when the show takes place. So, yeah, having Tracy take off her dress and showing this to us, we know it's definitely more modern day. Now, I was surprised. Honestly, I was a little surprised that Lynch did not give us his point of view shot looking at her. But that's all right because we're kind of looking at them as if we're kind of in the box. I guess we're led to believe this is the first time they've done this. She really wanted to be with him, that's for sure. And look, them kissing and making out has stirred up the whatever's signals that are in the box. Now, there is a woman that we see in another episode later, and this viewer viewer that goes by the funny name of Heavy Mustache says that he thinks that that woman who comes up later is the same woman who will kill this couple. He says you can hear the same sounds of slicing while she is trying to keep another character away from a fuse box later. So that's interesting. Yeah, it's very possible. I mean, this could be a variety of people or spirits, and um, but yeah, this is at first that image. I was thinking, is Lynch bringing back the Elephant Man? Because it looked like the way the Elephant Man stands there in the observation room the first time you see him with the shadows and stuff. But they're just like sitting there, like, what the hell? And she's like, and then it breaks the glass. Yeah, it's nightmarish imagery right there. Glass breaks and starts flying towards them, and then starts like just blends them up, man. Look at that. They just chops their faces right off. Oh my goodness. See, that is Lynch's Friday the 13th. Another beautiful shot of this is Buckhorn, South Dakota. Now I know a lot of you guys really love what you are seeing here, but there's a number of others that think that they really miss the hometown Twin Peaks feel, and they weren't prepared for it to be going all over the country or the globe, and or even outer space. But that's another story. But I mean, I felt like most Twin Peaks David Lynch fans, if they followed any of the news about the show, knew that it wasn't going to be entirely in Snoqualmie or in Twin Peaks. Now, this is a very long scene with this obese woman trying to get into her neighbor's apartment. This is because of South Dakota. Obviously, you're immediately reminded of Fargo, the movie and the TV show, and this is definitely in the same vein. But so while this is happening, I'm going to check the comments here. You guys are talking about all kinds of things that don't pertain to the episode. Yeah. All right. So the police arrive. Where's the smell coming from, Mrs. Green? I like all of these actors. I mean, they definitely embody their role, and I love the fact that Lynch would like get Jennifer Jason Leigh for like a scene over here, or Ethan Embry. Ethan Suplee, not Ethan Embry. Ethan Suplee for another scene over here, and then cast unknowns for a bunch of other parts. He knows when to choose who. It's like he casts the right person for the role, not necessarily for star power all the time. If you notice, like in her hand, she already has the key in her hand, which will come up in a later scene. She's so focused on the police officers, just forget she has it wrapped around her wrist. What do you guys think of this subplot with the police trying to get into the apartment? And so we have apartment 1349. Another number. And the neighbor's talking about where the keys may be. And this scene goes on and on. And then she talks about Hank. Barney's friend Hank might be able to get the keys. And of course, everyone's thinking Hank Jennings. Oh my God, we're gonna see Hank Jennings. Well, we don't. We get an actor who has been on numerous amount of TV shows. He does a good job here as well. He played actually Angel's first watcher in the Buffy season 2 finale, Becoming Part 1. It was a good role for him. He like how Hank's just like nervous about these police. Like, what? Who are you? Who sent you? What the hell? Police are like, we need your help. He's like, what on earth? You guys are just talking all about how much you love the police scenes in these shows and how David Lynch really milks the humor out of them and stuff. Yeah. David thinks the handyman is definitely going to come back in future episodes. Well, yeah, I mean, he is an established actor, so I can see it. Do you think that maybe Ruth's out of town? Well, it would be a shame because I'm supposed to water her plants when she's out of town. I have the key. Yeah, it was around my wrist the whole time. The cop's like, geez, Louise. That's really funny. All right, so they get into the apartment. All right, now this is going to get a little bit into some spoiler territory for a future episode. So if you don't want to know or hear my theory, I would start to plug your ears for the next couple minutes. But I got to wait till they get to the bedroom. Yeah, that's amazing that they could stand to be in that house if the smell was that powerful from outside the door, especially since a cop will have a reaction to a someone inside of a car in a later episode that is pretty funny. Anyway, they approach the bed and they see a woman's head with an eye missing. Now, I have been told that the person who posed for that head is David Lynch's wife, Emily Stoffel, I think her name is. I don't recognize her, but that's what I was told, that his wife posed for that or is playing that head right there. I love when Lynch brings out the big cameras. I mean, obviously this isn't the big 1940s camera they were using in the original series, but still you get a similar effect. Brent Briscoe is here on the scene. He's been great. I remember seeing him in Sling Blade. He played one of the workers in the garage that Carl worked with. Another gnarly shot of the eyes. I like this thing. Oh, good for you, Dave. You're behaving yourself with the blue gloves. It's hard to see blue gloves without thinking about Firefly, though, but Anyway, so they remove the blanket. Now, this is a theory from a viewer named David. He believes at this point, that even though it's a woman's head and a man's body, he was thinking that the man's body is Major Briggs that was preserved and brought out for this occasion. Now, I do think he may be right because, spoilers, in a later episode, when Cooper is in outer space, what do we see? We see Major Briggs' head floating in space. And it's not his body's not there, it's just his head floating in space. And here we have a man's body with no head. It's very possible that Dave is right. Okay, now nobody was expecting this. I was expecting the log lady to be in a log lady introduction or something of that nature. Nobody expected to see her on a phone call with Hog, with the air breather and all that. So this is incredibly emotional. This was done shortly before she died. You can tell she's really not feeling well. And I honestly thought that this was going to be the only scene she was in, but she shows up at least for another phone call. And who knows, maybe for another one later in the show. But she's calling Hawk right now to let him know something about Agent Cooper. And she says, the way you'll find it, look at the way she's crying, so sad, has something to do with your heritage. Now, obviously, Hawk is, I've always said, is one of the key characters to be able to get Cooper out of the lodge. The other three would have been Major Briggs, the Log Lady, and Ronette. And two of the actors are no longer with us. So that leaves just Hawk and Ronette. And Ronette shows up in a later sequence in another episode. But I have a feeling as to what Hawk needs to find. I know Hawk starts pulling out boxes of Laura Palmer's, trying to figure out what is he missing? What is something he is not seeing? My theory is that he is going to ultimately find, and I have no idea how this has to do with his heritage, but he will ultimately find, in my humble opinion, I'm probably wrong, but this is my theory, he will find Laura's diary, or what's left of it after Harold Smith tried to destroy it. And he will discover Annie Blackburn's warning to Laura that she wrote down after that scene in Fire Walk with Me. And Hawk will find out that Cooper is still in the Black Lodge. That is my theory. Another reason for David's theory about the body being Major Briggs is because, obviously, of the military confidential that comes up on the computer when they're running for Prince. William Hastings. Now, I wasn't expecting to see Matthew Lillard in this. I guess he may have been on the cast list, but I totally forgot he was in this. And you know what? Matthew Lillard, he gets a lot of crap for, playing Shaggy or in other movies with Freddie Prinze Jr. But if you look at his work in Scream, Serial Mom, SLC Punk, he is a very capable, very good actor. And I think he holds his own pretty well here. I don't know how big his part is going to be in the overall series, but he does a nice job here. All right, so obviously they're going to put Matthew Lillard under arrest. Now, this is... I remember somebody writing on Twitter that seeing Matthew Lillard this aged reminds him that he's not getting any younger himself. And he gets arrested, and off he goes. This is very much like a Fred Madison type of thing of innocent man, or possibly innocent man, saying, I didn't do it, but being convicted anyway. And of course, Lynch is a big Alfred Hitchcock fan as well, who, of course, even made a movie called The Wrong Man with Henry Fonda. So here comes Hawk. He's bringing out the boxes. It's great to see him. Now, I know some people, again, talked about the pacing issue with some of these scenes. And I didn't mind it. I mean, yeah, they're a little stretched out, the stuff between Andy and Lucy, and they don't have like quite the pop that the original series had, with the jazzy score and Lucy and Andy being really zany and funny. But it's a different tone. And it's, but look at Andy, man, he's about to bulge out of that police shirt. He needs to get a bigger size. And they're talking about Wally Brando, which is there was a viewer. I'm sorry, I totally forgot your name, but you mentioned in the chat at the very beginning that if you take the name Wally and Brando and merge them together, it becomes Waldo. I wonder if that will play a factor at some point. Now we're back in South Dakota. Oh, Matthew Lillard, man, he really internalized this part. And of course, he had no idea what he was playing because he only got the script for his scenes. So he had to like create this character, and he's doing a darn good job of it. Eric says the principal seems to be a modern day Leland Palmer. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Amateur video scholar says the fingerprints off the body are restricted by the military. How can it not be Major Briggs? Probably. I'm leaning that way just because of the head and where. Yeah, I agree. Matthew Lillard kills it. Thanks, Amateur. Now, see, I remember watching this thinking he could be an incredibly guilty man, or he could be an incredibly innocent man. That's how well Matthew Lillard plays this scene. I mean, you don't know, is he innocent or guilty? And that's so fascinating, is you're just on pins and needles and you don't even know who this character is. I mean, this is only the second appearance of this character, and yet you're fully invested in his predicament. Maybe because it's Matthew Lillard, maybe it's because he's expressing just total agony on his face and confusion. He does a really great job. I hope he gets a lot of accolades for this. And of course, we find out sooner than later that he's having an affair. Now, is that he's having an affair with Ruth? Is that who he's having an affair with? Or was it someone else? I got a little bit confused the first time I saw this. I wasn't sure if there was like another girl or if it was Ruth. Maybe if you guys could let me know in the chat. Direwolf says innocent. Don't think he'd admit he had the dream if it wasn't true. Well, we'll get there soon enough, Dire. David says, I don't think Lynch told Lillard if he's guilty or innocent. Probably not, but Man, he managed to play it right down the middle, as Lynch would say, straight as an arrow. Oh, yeah, Drake says all these scenes are very well executed. I think Matthew Lillard's character was having an affair with Ruth. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Wanted to make sure because there's a lot of names and things thrown at us in the first couple episodes, and it's like you're still trying to get situated into the narrative. So that's why repeat viewings are wonderful. I've talked with a number of you who've told me you've seen these episodes 3, 4, 5 times already, and that's incredible. And a lot of you have told me this show only gets better and better and better with each viewing, which is even more incredible because I loved it the first time. So if you're telling me on the 5th time I'm going to love it even more, that's fantastic. So look at all these numbers here. We got 1055, 1020, obviously, all these. I just think that so many of these numbers are going to either come back into play or they're gonna be time holders. We're gonna maybe bounce around in the story time wise, and not just year wise, but maybe minute wise. Now he keeps saying he wants to speak to George, his lawyer, and you're thinking, okay, he just wants to get some protection here, but I think he wants to confront George because he has his own feelings about George regarding something else here. Yeah, Jared says he gave Betty a ride. Okay, so see, that's what I'm talking about. Did he have an affair with Betty or did he have an affair with Ruth? It's that's I'm just a little bit unclear about that. Clone Commander says the dead body with the missing head is Toad. Well, he had to go sometime, right? Yeah, Matthew face. Show him to his new room. He's like, oh crap. And off to his cell he goes. One minute you're just hanging out, about to have dinner with your wife and some friends. Next thing you know, you're being locked up in a jail cell and knowing your life is over. He wants to speak to his wife. E2 says, I wonder if Angelo Badalamenti will have a larger and larger presence as the show goes on. I'm thinking he will. Let's see. Stuart says, with Lynch, this is his vision for 18 hours. Yep. The police come back to the principal's house. They want to obviously they have a search warrant. They want to explore. Phyllis is not too keen on this, and we will find out in the next episode why. But like I said before I started this, I'm a little sad that they didn't leave the 2 episodes as just one big 2-hour episode, because obviously there is a payoff to all this. But they split it up, and this becomes the only episode so far of the 4 that does not end with a performance at the Roadhouse. This ends in a different way, basically a callback to the opening scene with the giant, or question mark man. Oh, Phyllis, she does not look happy. She looks like Evelyn, just worried that they're going to find something about Jeffrey. And yep, they're going to open up the car and discover something. I love this Brent Briscoe's flashlight, right? Flickering. And he goes, my flashlight's broke. Just like the doctor in the pilot in Firewalk, not Firewalk, in the pilot of Twin Peaks when they're looking at Laura Palmer's body, and he goes, "I think it's a broken transformer or a short transformer," and the light's flickering. It's a wonderful callback to that pilot. And then what is that? Is that a tongue? Or a piece of skin? I don't know what it is, but it is creepy looking. So here we go back to the giant and then to the phonograph where the credits play. Like I said, this is the only episode of the first 4 that does not end at the Roadhouse. So I kind of prefer this being with the second episode as being one film, but hey, what are you going to do? Still a very good piece of television, and I'm so happy to have Twin Peaks back. It's wonderful. I know some of you think, oh, Twin Peaks isn't back. Twin Peaks is in Twin Peaks. We're in New York. We're over here. We're in the Black Lodge. We're in South Dakota. But it's still this universe. And if you can accept Deer Meadow, you can accept South Dakota. I know a lot of you also were kind of shocked by how much visual effects are in this show. Well, the first episode doesn't have quite as many as other episodes will have. So sound design by David Lynch. Wonderful. Yeah, this American Woman track that they use right to introduce Bob. You could not pick a better song, an introduction to, Cooper Bob. Yeah, this film benefited from the French tax rebate. Good for you. In memory of Catherine Coulson. Oh, so sad. She was a wonderful actress. So, we get the Lynch Frost Productions. I love it. I always loved it in the original broadcast as well. So there you go. There is the first episode of Twin Peaks 2017, or Twin Peaks The Return, or Twin Peaks Season 3, or whatever you want to call it. So let's take a few minutes and talk about this episode. Reggie says, did the 2-hour premiere include the first credit sequence? No, it did not. That credit sequence was created just out of an outtake from the first scene, basically, because the ending of this episode was supposed to be the end of the second episode, because it was one big 2-hour event. Right. Direwolf says, pretty sure just aired as a 2-hour thing. Only remember credits on rewatch. Okay, yeah, that's what it was. It was after the Roadhouse. I mean, the Roadhouse scene happened, and then we got the credits. Lawrence Brandon says, I wish Mark Frost received more press attention for these episodes. All I see is stuff about Lynch. You know what? That has to be done on purpose, right? I mean, they would love to probably have Mark Frost and David Lynch out there, but Showtime right now is pushing Lynch, and Mark Frost is probably happy, just kind of cool, lay back and just kind of let the show get the press it needs. And that's probably what's going on. Mark Frost is all over Twitter, man. Tweet him. If he likes your stuff, he'll retweet you or reply. He's a really nice guy. Be wonderful to have him on one of these shows, don't you think? You should tweet Mark Frost and say, hey, you should do a video or do an interview with Cameron from Noxious Anonymous. Let's turn up the heat just a little bit. Drake says part 2 and 3 have a lot of special effects done by a company, even though they look like wonky images from the David Lynch website of last decade. Oh, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, yeah, you can tell that the you can see some of the strings behind the scenes, but I don't think they look terrible. They were nice for what they are. Yeah, you guys are talking about a character that doesn't come in until episode 3, so I'm not going to bring him up until we hit episode 3, just in case there's people watching this that have not seen that episode yet. Clone Commander says, I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw that. With Oh, okay, that's another scene from a later episode. So David says, I think the CGI looks authentic Lynch, cheesy but a little creepy. Yeah, and you guys keep talking about a character I can't talk about yet, guys. Wait till episode 3 or 4 before you talk about that person. Drake says the imagery has Lynch written all over it, so I respect that as an artist. Amateur Video is confused by a character's name they keep bringing up because he probably hasn't seen that episode yet. So, Direwolf says I really didn't think they looked cheesy at all, except maybe on maybe the body on the bed, but whatever. I didn't think that looked bad at all. Thought it looked great. So, any other things we need to discuss before we go? Yeah, so yeah, mentioned all my points that I wanted to bring up for this episode. So, Cameron, people still think it is Cooper's soul, not his body in the Black Lodge. Well, they're wrong. So, it's as simple as that. They're wrong. Winslow says the black symbol on the plane. Okay, you guys are about part 2. We're not there yet, guys. Talk about part 1. Jamie says it's hard not to jump to episodes 2 through 4 within discussion. Oh, I understand. That's why, but I'm trying to break it down by episodes. More talk about things that aren't in this episode. Email says, could the glass cage scenes be a comment on mindless TV binging? It eats you up without you knowing. Yeah, good job. That's fantastic. David says, do you think the guard was paid to leave? You know what? I didn't think about that. It's a possibility. Lots and lots and lots of possibilities. Yeah, everyone wants to know what happened to the guard. I don't know. I'm sure we'll find out. I bet you he wasn't too thrilled when he got back and found 2 dead bodies in there. But they're going to have to cover that up because, there's going to be a lot of people looking for those 2. They probably were not counting on Tracy being there. So that might bring some heat on them a little bit more. Bring out that anonymous billionaire. Yeah, Clone says the first 2 parts flow so damn well together that it's interesting to see how the first episode ended. Honestly, I don't think it ends very well, just because I saw it originally as 1 2-hour movie. So it just kind of, I'm like, hey, that was supposed to just lead us into another scene, not be the end of the episode. Drake says, was the girl that gets butchered a barista? She might. I mean, she's getting all this coffee for free. Dan says, I think Tracy paid him off so she could get off. Haha. I don't think Tracy has that kind of money and she's getting coffee for free. But it's a good theory. All right, you guys are continuing to talk about other things from other episodes. So you guys will be enjoying tomorrow when we talk about episode 2 because you guys are talking about that as well. Jan says, Tracy seemed too curious about the room. Well, she's a product of David Lynch filmmaking, which is, people love mysteries and they want to just find out everything they don't know about. You guys are all praising Cheryl Lee that she doesn't show up for later. Spoilers. 100Z Mad said he's sad that Tracy is gone. I am too. I like the character, and I don't know. But hey, as the if I can just put on my man hat for a second, we got to be with her character for a few great minutes, and we got to see her take off her clothes. I'm sure Lynch was like, we need to get someone perfect for that role because I want to have a nice butt on camera. Reggie says, wonder if Tracy and the guy will come back. If I have a feeling Tracy and Sam will come back because they are, I know you don't have to believe IMDb, but they are credited for 2 episodes and they're not in part 2. So maybe they're going to come back as spirits. Jamie says, yeah, episode 1 and 2 seem to be edited to be viewed back to back. Yes, I agree. Drake says, anyone notice the room? The space of the prologue is not the red room. Interesting. Amateur video scholar said, my girl said she looked good. Your girl has good taste. Drake says, the floor is not in the zigzag shape. Well, we're getting new Black Lodges in this show. And oh, that's right. Thank you, Family Guy. He says, aren't the couple, Tracy and Sam, aren't they in part 2? It shows them before another character shows up in the box. You are right. You are right. I stand corrected. So yeah, they are definitely in that episode. So those are the 2 episodes they're in. So yeah, they're probably not coming back now. Yeah, so they're, as Amateur says, they're probably not spirits. Yeah. Well, now we know they're probably not coming back. So Hunter Z says this show gets better with each episode and weirder. Oh, I agree. There's, oh my God, there's stuff in episode 3 that made me scream out loud. Drake says, where is Cooper and the question mark or giant at the beginning? It's not the red room or the floating metal shack of later episodes. I don't know. I mean, they're in a black and white alternate universe, I guess. I don't know. It's very bizarre. Clone Commando says, ever since Lost Highway, Lynch seems to have women on women scene. Reggie says, why is the first scene in black and white? All right. Seriously, if you don't want no spoilers, close your ears right now, and I will give you a thumbs up when I'm done. You ask. All right, go. Reggie says, why is the first scene in black and white? Close your ears. Why is the last scene of episode 4 all in blue? I know they're talking about the blue rose, but come on, it's like completely blue. It's not filmed through a window. It's not day for night. It's just blue. So, yeah, it seems like Lynch is just kind of experimenting with different color schemes. He's like trying to do a Dario Argento Suspiria thing or something. Okay, back to no spoilers. Direwolf says, Cameron, how about the scene where Bob Cooper is introduced? Who were all those wackos? I don't know if they're going to come back up. I mean, obviously, a couple characters come back in the next episode, but I think it's more just to show you that Bob is just one seedy mofo, man. He's just hanging out with the wrong crowd. He's hanging out with like characters that you would see in Friday the 13th Part 5, The New Beginning, or Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something. Web Scared says the Gray Lodge is at the beginning. There's a Gray Lodge? I've heard something about that, but I haven't heard that confirmed by. Have I heard that from Frost or Lynch? I don't think I have, but it's late. Maybe I have. Amateur Video says doesn't get any bluer than this. I know. It was probably done for that. It's just a little too on the nose for me, but you know. Yeah. No, I'm primarily talking about episode 1, but people in the chat are talking about all 4 episodes. So if you don't want to know anything, get off the chat. Drake wants to know more about Richard and Linda. 2 birds, 1 stone. Yeah, it would be interesting to know about them. Hopefully we will soon enough. Yeah. So you guys are just thinking the series is full of mystery and dread. And Clone Commander says he would piss himself if he ever met Bob Cooper. I agree. I'm right there with you. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. Pretty much done this watch along for tonight. I'm really happy you guys are here. It's wonderful to have you guys watching this with me. Um, I will be back tomorrow. We're going to do episode 2, and then on Thursday we'll do episode 3, and then on Friday we'll do episode 4, and then we'll be caught up. And then this weekend I will be doing the group discussions, and we'll talk about the 4 episodes all together. And hopefully by that time everybody will be on the same page, because it will have played on Showtime by that time. So all right, guys, it's late. I gotta go to bed. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I really appreciate all your kind words and comments and support over the last few days. It's really wonderful. It's nice that the internet can be used for good things and not just for ironic, nasty comments on Twitter. You guys are great. Take it easy. I will see you soon. Take care. Have a great night. May the forest be with you.